Show that it's okay. All right. Well, welcome everybody to our book club. Kim is the one who found this book, and I'm so thankful she did. When I had gone over to work with her, I saw it on her counter. She had 2 copies, and I was like, "Ooh, I want to read this." And she's like, "Well, here, take it." And I started reading it and couldn't put it down. There's this lady is tough. And there's things that she says that I've wanted to say to people. I needed to hear myself. And that's how this all came about. So we're going to go chapter by chapter. Tonight's the first 2 chapters. And the first chapter we're going to talk about is why people fail and why that ain't going to be you. Now, first, I want to say congratulations to everybody who made it a priority to be on tonight. On Passionately for Pink, we have over 900 people a part of that group, and there's 9 people on tonight. That's like, what, 0.1% or something? I mean, that tells you just exactly who is in this for a business and who, and I know we have a lot of wholesale buyers on there, so, you know, take that into account. But at the same time, we have 31 people on our book club page. And they're not all on here. So that says something about you guys that are on. And I just want to thank you. And we're going to work through this together, and we're power partners. All of us are power partners, and we're going to work our way to the top together. So let's get started. First off, going through this book, I kind of took notes like I would in school. And there's some things that like really jumped out at me this first chapter. And so I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about that, and then I want us to go over, there's really no activity in the first chapter. So I just want to kind of go over some things that like jumped out at me, and if there's anything in this first chapter that really spoke to you that I don't like hit on, unmute yourself and let's talk about it. Because, you know, different people perceive things differently, and when a message is being sent, even in a book, somebody might receive that message a little bit differently, and maybe I just missed a key point that, you know, somebody else saw. So the first thing in the very first paragraph, she talks about all we have to do is talk to people. And we've said this before, this business is about relationships and talking to people, and if that's not something you're comfortable with, too bad. You're going to get over that, and we're going to talk to people. And if your mouth ain't open, you're not working your business, period. That is so true. We should be talking to people, not vomiting plexus all the time. I mean, you don't want to scare people away or turn them off, but we should be talking about it. People should know that we are passionate about what we're doing. And I was talking to Kim about this today, actually. The lady who wrote this book, so far, she hasn't named her company. I haven't heard it, but she's in skincare. And skincare is great. You know, it's a way of taking care of yourself. But what we have to offer is so much more important, life-changing. It betters the quality of people's lives. It doesn't just make them look good. They feel good. It changes everything about them. And so we have the best products, top of the line, ingredients, quality ingredients. And we need to be telling people about this, because we are not just selling something. We are selling like truly life-changing products. So never forget that. Talking to people. This is not just a vitamin. This is not just, you know, a drink. This is truly life-changing. And I think everybody that's on here tonight will agree that some way, somehow, Plexus has improved their quality of life. So all we have to do is talk to people about it and share our love for the products and the company. Now, she hits the nail on the head when she says, this is not an easy business. And it's not easy, but it's a simple business. And there's certain ways people have gone before us, and they have kind of laid it out. And in this first chapter, she talks about being coachable. And as long as you're coachable, and the people you bring in are coachable, they will be successful. If we just duplicate what's been done, we will be successful. And there's some certain things that we're going to talk about and learn about that you do these things and you will be successful. Everybody's journey is different, so it might take a little longer for some than others, but you will be successful. So let's see. So she talks about the 3 bucket list. We all know about making our list. Like, that is important. And I like the way she tells her new recruits. She's like, you know, everybody has skin and we sell skincare products. So, you know, everybody should be on that list. Anybody you've ever come in contact with. She's not just talking to people you're comfortable talking to or the people that you kind of know or whatever. She means everybody and anybody that you come in contact with, you should be talking, they should know what you do. They should know that you represent Plexus. And I love that. So she talks about the three buckets. And those are, and I like the last one. She said the first one is customers that order, they fall in love with our products, and they keep reordering. Sorry. They keep reordering, and they often refer people to us. So these people see the business perspective, they join our teams, and then they have people who aren't interested in the products or services or businesses. We all know those people, and usually we tend to write them off. But why do we write them off? Because, we can ask people to, oh, am I back? Am I there?
That sentence over.
Okay, sorry, somebody was calling. So the third list, I'm not sure where I left off. Those are the people who aren't interested in the products or services or businesses, but we need to ask those people to connect us with their network. Oftentimes, when we've talked to somebody about Plexus and they reject what we have to offer them, we just tend to give up on them. And we shouldn't do that. We should utilize their network. So keep that in mind the next time you're talking to somebody that's, you know, okay, they're not interested, but who do you know that might be interested in this? Who does have some health problems? I understand, you know, whatever, but give them my name. I'll take their name, you know, things like that. And that is something that is not, I'm not comfortable with. And it's something that right there spoke to me. And so that's something I'm going to be working on personally is, okay, you're not interested? Do you know anybody who is? So then, now we're going to move on to 4 reasons why people fail. The very first one I've already touched on, and that is that people aren't coachable. They let's see, learn as much as possible. In order to be coachable, that people have to have a desire to want to learn. They have to do what their successful upline does. They plug into the resources of our company, which when I started over 3 years ago, we didn't have much. We have a whole slew of resources at our fingertips in our library that we did not have before. The Success in Demand. There's a lot of things out there that can teach us so that we can learn as we go and become a student of the profession. That spoke to me as well, because I think I was so embarrassed to say I was a part of a network marketing business when I first started. I was afraid of what people would think. It's a joke. It's a pyramid scheme. It's a whatever. It's a get rich quick, you know, whatever. And I was actually embarrassed to say I was a part of this. That has changed for me over time. And we need to look at this as a profession. It's, you know, it is our job. I guarantee you that's how Melissa and how our other, you know, our successful diamonds, that's how they see this. They're professional in what they do. And they've become a student of network marketing and how to do this successfully. So we need to view it as that as well. We need to learn as much as we can. So if you're not coachable, you aren't going to talk to enough people. And people that aren't coachable often refuse to implement proven business building tools that help them expose and close the deal. And so when we have somebody in our downline who is complaining, I just don't understand why I can't get customers, I don't understand this, I don't understand that. Are they doing what's required of them, what we've taught them? If they're not, we may just have to show a little bit of tough love and say, look, I've shown you what to do. You have opportunities to learn, to join into group discussions, whatever the case may be, but you're not using those opportunities. You're not getting plugged in to the bigger team pages and the Zooms and the power hours and the whatever we have available, we're going to have to put the responsibility back on the person, because we are our own boss. We are our own CEO. And I want this for every person that joins my team that wants this as a business. I want it for them, but I cannot work their business. And I think because we don't want to hurt people's feelings, we tend to not call it what it is. And I think we're doing an injustice to our downline, honestly. I think as leaders, we have a responsibility to not accept the excuses that they want to give, and, you know, talk to them honestly. This is what needs to be done. You're not going to be successful if you don't do these things. So that's something, as far as my learning and growing as a leader, something I'm going to have to do. So number 2, why people fail at this business is they don't treat it like a business. They don't look at it as a business. You have to work this every day, even if it's for a few minutes. And I'm busy. I know people are busy. There's no doubt about it. This is something, until I'm able to quit working as a nurse, I have to find time in my day to work my business. Whether that's on social media, and I should be posting every day, or I'm talking to somebody about it at work, or whatever. We should be working our business every single day. You want to open your business, okay? So think about it like if you had a building that you were, you know, you had a business, a retail business, you would have to go to work every day, open, you know, turn that open sign, a closed sign to open, and you would have to be there. And it's the same here. Like you want people to know that you are open for business and that you are the one to come and talk to. So you have to treat it like a business. Granted, you don't have to do this for 8 hours a day or 10 hours a day, but you do have to do it every day, regularly, and commit and make time so that you can be successful. So how do we spread this time? How do we spread this time around, since we, you know, don't have a whole lot? And I really like the way she did this, and she actually came up with like a timetable, like how many hours, I think. Let's see. What is this, number 2? Yeah. She says, okay, so she says this. She says, how do you spend your time? Well, 80% of your time is spent talking to people who want to be your customer, give best customer service, finding those who want to join your team, training newbies in the first 30 days of their business. That you want to spend 80% of your time investing in this. Don't just wait for your rock star to come. You have to be your own rock star. You have to be continually talking to people, getting customers, getting new recruits, building your team. Don't just wait for your team to do it for you, because you might be waiting a while. So you got to keep doing it yourself. So that's where the majority of your time needs to be. And then 10% needs to be 3-way calls with your team. This is so underutilized. I don't know why. I mean, I've had some people take advantage of it, and it works well. Or when we get in these 3-way group chats, or maybe a 4-way group chat, it's amazing how we're able to help people. And we've been doing this more often, and the success that is coming because of these small little chat groups, it's great. Wouldn't you agree, Kim? Yeah, I mean, it's been really good. So that's 10% of your time. And then the last 10% is your own personal training. We have to be fed too. We have to continue to learn and grow. So that means that we, as leaders, we are plugging into training calls, webinars, attending in-person events, and then coaching your non-newbie business partners, so the ones that have been around a while. And that's 100% of your time working for your business. So what does that look like? And she gave an example in the book. If you're devoting 15 hours to your business, at least 12 hours will go to your personal business. So that's a few hours a day that goes to your personal business, whether that's posting, reaching out, talking to somebody, whatever. That's where that time goes, and training your new people, working with them, etc. And then 1.5 hours will go to 3-ways, and 1.5 hours will go to your own personal training. I think when it's broke down that way, it might not be so overwhelming versus looking at, where do I start? How much time do I need to devote? So, I mean, honestly, 15 hours a week, I probably don't devote that now. I can only imagine where my business would be if I spent that kind of time truly giving that kind of time to my Plexus business. I would probably not still be nursing if I was doing that. So that might be a way for people, including myself, who at times feel very overwhelmed with life and with things that are going on, just a way to break it down so that it's not so overwhelming. And let's see. Okay. I like this thing. It says, this business requires you to get comfortable being uncomfortable. I'm pretty sure most of y'all can agree with that. There's a lot of things that I would not have done. For those of y'all who don't know, it was Kim and the girls at work that even made me get on Facebook to begin with. And I had a whole 79 friends when I started this business. And I like have over 1,000 now. But that was so uncomfortable for me because my thought process was, if I don't talk to you, you don't need to know my business. And so I didn't want to be friends with people. Well, I'm not going to reach anybody if I'm not friends with them. So I've had to add people and open my life and be willing to share my life with others so that I can expose what I'm doing and let them see the changes that have taken place in me. So I really like that quote. So number 3, they're not willing to get uncomfortable. And I've always been told you're not growing if you're comfortable. I mean, that was something I've been told for a long time, and that's true, and it's even more true in this business. So we got to get outside of our comfort zones. Tanya was sharing with me and Dee Dee today something that she did. It's completely out of her comfort zone, but she did it. And I'm praying that it pays off for her because clearly the reason she did it, she cares about these people and they need what she has to offer them. So it's painful sometimes, growth is, but sorry, my dog's barking. Let's see. So next thing, number 4. I think I kind of hit number 3. Number 4. Ooh, Les Brown comes to mind. They're not hungry enough. When you're hungry, you're going to get out and work. You are going to work. And I mean, that's just all there is to it. If you want something other than what you've got going now, you're going to get out there and you're going to bust your butt. That's what I did when I went to nursing school. I wanted a better life for me and my kids, my family, and I busted my hiney I was working and I was going to school and I was raising kids and everything. I wanted it. I had a goal and I wanted it, and I did, and I achieved it. It is no different in this business. Now I have a different goal. I love nursing, but it's a tough job. And healthcare is not what it used to be. And so I'd like to kind of move away from that, or at least only do it, maybe one day a week. So I have a new goal. I am ready to, move on and do something different. Plus, I know that the financial opportunities with Plexus, I cannot, it's not even possible for me to make that as a nurse, unless I'm working like 80 hours a week. And that, I do not want to do that. It is a tough, physically, mentally demanding job, and I just don't want to do that. So I've got some big goals, and I'm gonna succeed in what I've put my mind to. So let's see. So when she's talking about they're not hungry enough, here's where she's talking about life. Life happens. Things happen every single day. But we all have the same 24 hours to work with, and we all decide what's really important to us. And those who are successful in this business, it's because they want it, and they're hungry, and they desire a change, and they're not going to settle for less. So let's see. I mean, that's what this lady said. She's like, I was willing to do whatever, and she was successful. I mean, her husband was a doctor with his own practice. She was a lawyer at one point. She went from being a lawyer to, what was it? Public, what was it, Kim?
PR.
Public relations. That's right. Yeah. And she was just, what she says in the book is, we have these kids And we're working all the time because it was a service industry. Both her and her husband, believe it or not, doctors, that is a service industry. And you are, having to if you're not at work, you're not making money. And here they're having to spend all these time away from their kids. And she said, this is not what we envisioned when we talked about having a family. And I think that's true for most of us. We don't talk about having a family and then just never seeing them. A great big house is awesome, but if you're never in it, like, what's the point? So I like what she said about that. And she talked about, Dee Dee was just talking about being deflated. She said she was willing to do whatever it took. She was juggling her baby, a toddler, the PR clients, volunteering, doing work for her husband's business, helping her aging mom, trying to lose baby weight. I was juggling and ineloquently at that. I was tired and scared and often disappointed and deflated. But there were little and big victories that gave me small glimpses of what this could really be. And so, just like when we talk to our customers about small victories, or maybe new ambassadors, our wholesale ambassadors, when we talk to them about the small victories that they're seeing with our products and the changes that are taking place, even though it's on the smaller side, it's happening. And eventually those small victories are going to add up into a big victory. And I think that's the same in our business. So maybe you're not adding as many customers as you'd like, or your team isn't growing as quickly as you'd like. But if you're still adding, you're still growing, that's a victory. You are moving in the right direction. So you got to be hungry for it. So then she goes on to say, you've got to figure out what it is you really want and that you don't already have. Whatever it is, it's got to be big enough to get you to do something with commitment and consistency. So in the next chapter, we're going to talk about whys and what ifs. Kim will talk about that. But I think that's exactly what motivates us to continue on, not just the life changes, and we know that we can make a difference in somebody else's life, but once you start getting a taste of the financial freedom that we get with Plexus, you just, why stop? Why would I want to stop how it's helping and benefiting my family? And to know what's around the corner, like, I'm not stopping. So let's see. Okay. I think, so why do some people stick with it while others quit? The answer is because they're hungry. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to build my business. It has to work. And I think that's something that we need to keep in mind. It has to work. And that's why when we get into the why and the what ifs next, it has to work. It's not an option now. It has to work. I want something different. So I'm going to do whatever it takes to make that happen. So I think for me, that's about it. Anybody want to talk about that first chapter? Anything I missed that jumped out at them?
Yeah, so if anybody wants to say anything, unmute yourself and go ahead and you can chat.
Come on now.
Hello, am I unmuted?
Oh, you are too, Tanya, yeah.
Okay, so a couple of things that stuck out in my mind when I read the first two chapters, I just kind of put a little asterisk beside them. Maybe this is a familiar term with all of y'all, but the IPAs, the income producing activities, I mean, that was kind of like an aha for me to kind of, like ask myself that question, like every day, what am I doing IPAs? I did like the open thing. I mean, like almost wanted to make a little sign, to put on my desk, like open for business. But the big thing that really stuck out to me, well, it's not the big thing, but it's something that she says really early on that resonated with me is getting out of that fee-for-service model. I mean, that's the beauty of this business model, is that it's not a fee-for-service. That's what stresses us out, guys. I mean, when I think about what I do every day, I mean, it's around fee-for-service, right? And so, and I'm ready to get out of that, totally. So that was really good stuff for me.
I agree completely.
Carrie, did you want to say something?
It was probably me.
Oh, okay, Michelle.
It wasn't really anything major other than the fact that this is one, like I gotta say, I felt so guilty through several of these pages. Like I was like, man, I am totally not meeting up to what my goals are. But that's been me ever since day one. Like my expectations are always like way high above, like I think reality. But Steph, you said you weren't sure where she was from. So like that was actually the very first thing I looked up. I checked your name out on Facebook and everything, and she's with Rodan and Fields. And so I just recently became a customer of a friend of mine who does Rodan and Fields, and then another girl who's an ambassador to me also does Rodan and Fields, and she's like, it's actually really hard, I guess, to like build business through there. You need to have people that sell it as opposed to customers, and I don't know. I just looking at what I know from the little bit of experience, I was like, man, it had to be hard. Like you're saying with the whole skincare thing. So I know it, and I tell everybody that. I'm like, you stick this out for 5 years because you'll have it made, even if it takes 5 years. But
and their products are really amazing, from what I understand, but they're really stupid expensive.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
like I need to be a jewel in order to order from my friend, kind of thing. So, yeah.
All right, well, we're going to go on to chapter 2 so that we don't keep you guys too long. So unless anybody else has any other questions. All right, so chapter 2 is called Why Are You Here? So basically, you know, I've asked myself that several times. I mean, I know that why I did it was because the products worked for me, and that's what pulled me in. So that is actually why I joined Plexus, was because the products worked for me, and I was so excited about it. I wanted to share it with everybody because I love helping other people. So, but that why is not enough to carry me through my business just because I love the products. That why is definitely not big enough. So I had to start, you know, my why has definitely developed over times. And at the beginning, it was simply because I wanted to get my products cheaper. And then it was, well, maybe I can get my products paid for. And then it was like, well, an extra $500 a month would like really help me out. You know, I was working a night shift as a nurse, and I was frankly tired of it. And so then my next why, which was a big why, was I wanted to retire from nursing. And thankfully, my husband is a great supporter financially. So I was already working only part-time. So I didn't need an astronomical amount in order to reach that goal. But I did have a dollar amount that I needed to be making per month in order to leave that job permanently. And so that became my goal, as we're going to get into in a few minutes. But so basically, you're going to have to ask yourself, why do you want to build a business with Plexus? Why do you want this? It has to be so big that it like reaches your core. It gets to your soul. It can make you cry if you really look at the big picture of why you want this business. And you have to be really, really, really in tune to this why. It will keep you it'll keep you showing up. It'll keep you working the business if you continually circle it back around and go back to your why. So if you don't really want it and you're just dabbling in it and it being a hobby, then you're not going to achieve it. If you're not making it a priority, and like Stephanie talked about in chapter 1, I mean, you really do have to treat this as a job. It isn't like you have to clock in and work 40 hours a week. You work it into the nooks and crannies of your life, which is the beautiful thing about this, is because we get to do it when we can do it. You know, like Dee Dee said, she's going through a lot of struggles right now with her family. Well, thankfully, Plexus, she didn't have to say, oh, well, can I take off from Plexus today? You know, she can still do what she wants to do and still continue her business, and her business will grow, which is the beauty of residual income. But anyway, but it can be a vicious cycle. It can be like it's like that roller coaster Melissa talks about. You can be on it and you're so excited because you got a new customer, you got a new ambassador, and you're on top of the world, and I'm going to be a diamond. And then that new customer or ambassador falls off the next month because they didn't set their convenience order up. And all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I cannot do this. This This is hard. Like, it tugs every little person that quits. You take it personally. So it's this cycle. It's this roller coaster. And you've got to learn to remain steady. And y'all, Christina is all of our leader. And I don't know, she wasn't on here before. I don't know if she's on here yet. But if you really look at her, that girl remains steady. She carries I told her last week, I said, you know, you probably feel those ups and downs, but you don't really let us see it. And she remains steady and firm. It has taken her, it took Melissa 7 months to get to Emerald. It took Christina 46 months. Now, that's her sister. If she were comparing herself to her sister, I mean, I possibly would have quit. I very possibly would have quit. Knowing that my sister made it in 7 months and it took her 46, but she remained that steady path. And I really think that's so important, and we really need to look at her as a role model for that. So I just threw that in there. That girl didn't put that in this book, but I'm just saying. Anyway, so you need to know why you want to build this business. If you can't see it, smell it, taste it, if it doesn't move you deep in your soul, then it's not enough to keep you committed. So that's when we talk about we've got to figure out our why. It's so important. And so basically, once you do figure it out, you need to share it with someone, because when you share it with someone, it holds you accountable. And whenever you're on that low of that roller coaster, that person, if they've agreed to be your accountability partner, can reach out to you and say, hey, Stephanie, remember you said that nursing job was exhausting you. You're having to work overtime, take call. Do you really want to do that the rest of your life? Or are you going to take this little setback and grow through it and keep going? So we need that person to encourage us. So find yourself an accountability partner. I tend to have therapists written across my forehead as far as the Facebook world thinks, because y'all don't even understand how many people reach out to me, but I'm okay with that. Reach on out. I'll help you. I'll help you if you want me to be your accountability partner. I don't mind at all. Anyway, but once you share it with somebody, she says, I loved this. She said, it can't just be about the money, but more of what the money would do for you. How would it change your life for the better? Yeah, we would all love to make $10,000 a month, but what would that $10,000 a month do for us? So as we're figuring out what our why is, you've got to start peeling back the layers like an onion, and you've got to figure out what would you want for yourself? Why do you want it? It has to be deeply personal, and it has to be about you. It can't be about your kids. This is the one time that you have permission to be completely selfish. This needs to be about you, something that's going to get to your core and make you work for it. And yes, it can be that I want to send my kids, and I do. Olivia's going off to college next year. I want to send her to the best college that we can afford. And so that drives me, but it's like, how would that benefit me? It would just give me a sense of satisfaction, a sense of not laying back and worrying. It would take some burden off of my husband. So you got to really peel back those layers, and it needs to be bulletproof to get you through the tough times. It must be very powerful. And as I said earlier, it will evolve as we advance. So continually check in with yourself. See whether or not this why is still driving you to get there. And if you start kind of having a setback in your business, and you're not sure if this is working for you, go back and revisit that why very, very, very often. So, all right. So why can't we find our why? She says the one that will make us that is uncomfortable enough to stretch and grow. And the reason we sometimes can't find our why is because we're not digging deep enough. It's like peeling an onion, like I just said. You have to figure out your first why. Ask yourself, why is that? Okay, so I want to read a little part here that I loved in this book. She said, I think one of the biggest reasons many people can't find their real why, the one that will get them uncomfortable and stretch and grow and constantly show up, is because they don't dig deep enough. It says, are you asking yourself, why is that? For example, one of our business partners first declared that she wanted to earn some money, and I started peeling. Why is that? So she could build an emergency fund. More peeling. Why do you want an emergency fund? To know that she's safe. Why will that make you safe if you have an emergency fund? Because the last time she was married, her husband left her with nothing. And in her current marriage, that could happen again, and she could be left in the same awful situation. So I'm hearing, the lady says, so I'm hearing that your real why is to make sure that you can always take care of yourself and put the power of your future in your hands. Is that right? And she said yes, as she cried. So basically they peeled the onion of why. You can't just say, because I want an emergency fund. She was genuinely terrified that she would be left on her own again and be so poor that, who knows? In my mind, like, this poor lady was having her lights cut off, and I had created this whole scenario around her. And, and she never wanted to go back to that. And so that why was very, very powerful to her. And that's why it's got to be powerful to us. So you've got to stop just dreaming about it. You have to take action to reach your dream. Start believing that it's possible. If you don't believe it can happen to you, then it more than likely won't happen to you. Allow yourself to actually envision standing on that stage, or actually envision yourself as an emerald, as a diamond. How will your life have changed? It's okay to sit back and daydream and actually put that picture in your mind to where the next time that you envision it, you've already got that picture painted in your mind, and you can go right back to it. Just allow yourself to dream. Sometimes we stop ourselves because it seems so unreachable, but the mind is a powerful thing. And if you will just put yourself toward it and dream, then it is definitely very possible. So once you know your why, you've got to start setting your goals. And once you set your goals, you have to look at it. She describes it as, look at it as a big elephant, that you've got to take one bite at a time out of this elephant. So basically, you're going to take this big goal and you're going to break it down. And you're going to use the SMART method. You're going to be specific. How are you going to do this? How are you, specific, I want to make $500 a month. Okay. Is it measurable? Yeah, I can measure it. How can I achieve this? Is it within my reach? Is it realistic? Or is the time that you're setting to it, if you say, I want to be silver by the end of the month, then you've got 10 days now to reach silver, and you need to set your goals, and you need to look at those. Be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. And that is realistic. I think probably most everybody on here is already silver or above. But if you're not, they tell us go silver every month. You do have time to do that. So just maybe kind of break that down. Ask yourself, what do I want to accomplish? When do I want to accomplish it? And why do I want to accomplish it? Well, this month, they're doing a double bonus for silver. They're doing a double bonus for gold. And if you're re-ranked to gold, they're giving you your bonus again. So that is why. That right there is a measurable, you have a timeline, it's the end of the month, it's an incentive, and that's a reason to go for it. So, so take advantage of the opportunities. All right. And then once again, when you have these goals written down, it's like, how badly do you want it? You're going to loop it back to your why. It takes consistency and talking to people every single day. You are going to have team members that are not coachable. You're going to have team members that quit. You're going to have team members that were doing so well, and all of a sudden they fall off and they won't answer your phone calls. You're sending them messages. You see they read it. They're not going to, and they're not answering it, and you're just getting so frustrated. But guys, you have to remember, this is about them. It's not about you. This was just not their timing. That doesn't mean they're never going to come back. I had people, in May when the new Chptr came out, I got 22 people back by reaching out to them that had quit long before. And simply by me doing the work and reaching out during a power hour, I got 22 people back. And so now granted they fell off again, but I got them back. And, you know, and actually some of them, they didn't order in, they ordered in June, they didn't order in July, but they did order again this month. But it was probably because they got that 60-day achievement pack, and they aren't selling it or anything. They didn't share it with anybody. So they had 2 months worth of products, and that's probably why. So I like the way she also says, maybe we should link our pain into not taking action. So basically, if we are not taking action, instead of, oh my gosh, it's so painful to reach out to people, what if it were more painful not to reach out to people? Because that would mean that you were not growing. So it's kind of like reassess where your pain is. I know it's uncomfortable sometimes to reach out to people, but make it be a little bit more painful that if you don't reach out, your business is going to become stagnant. And we're going to have this thing, as you grow in your business and you get a little further in, you're going to learn this word called attrition. And it's a very ugly word, in my opinion. I hate that word. And basically, you've got to stay ahead of it. And how do you stay ahead of attrition? That means that you've got to keep adding new people so that when the other ones fall off, you need to have more people added than fall off so that you can stay ahead of the game. And that's how you advance. So that's pretty much the end of chapter 2, but we go now to homework. So our homework is on page 40. And so this is something that we want to do this week. And by the time we meet again next Sunday, I want everybody to have this written down and this homework done. And you guys, you don't have to share with us, but we would love it if you would. And we can just, very quickly, you can just tell us your why. So the homework is you're going to take out a notebook or journal and answer the following questions. What is your why? Remember to peel the onion to get to your real why. Okay? Second one, why is it important to you? Get really specific here. How do you see this changing your life, affecting your family, helping you get where you want to be long term? Number 3, if you don't achieve your why, what's the pain that you'll experience? In other words, what will it cost you? What's the cost you'll pay in your life by not taking action to build this business? Really flesh out this part. What will you and your family miss out on in life? How will this affect your confidence and your self-esteem? That one's tough, y'all. That is really, really tough. Look ahead 5 years into the future. If you don't achieve your why, where will you be and what will you have given up, all because you didn't follow through and take action on what was important? Read this every day for 3 weeks. I found it really helpful to read it first thing in the morning, even before my feet hit the floor, to help set my intention for the day. You may decide to do it before you go to sleep. It doesn't matter when you do it as long as you do it every day for 21 days. So this week, I would love to see everybody. I have a why written down. I have several whys written down, but I don't think I've really, really dug into my why to where it became painful of why if I didn't achieve that goal that I set. But okay, that's all I have. So we're just going to, I'm going to open it up. If anybody has any questions or comments, just unmute yourself and talk to us.
Hey, so with the whole why thing, I really like this because I'm a second guesser. And I second guess a lot of my decisions. And one of the big things I always second guessed was, is my why good enough? Is it okay? How does it compare with others? And then that's just reading the little bit that I've read has helped me to remember it's not about everyone else. It's not about what moves other people. It's not about if my why is dumb or stupid or selfish. I have a hard time thinking about myself. And it's hard to say I want to do something like this for me because it makes me feel like, well, how dare you? And this really helped me. Like I said, this has come in a very, very significant point. Like, I couldn't have planned it better, because I didn't, but it's really helping me get back into touch with my whys, because reaching these goals that I've reached with the senior ambassador and everything, a lot of my whys are evolving, and I really haven't taken the time to come up with the new whys. And a lot of the short-term goals are being reached, and I need to be able to refocus on the long term. But I also have to remember to have a why that keeps me going in the instant gratification, the little whys. Senior Gold Ambassador. With my bonus, I was going to get my tattoo covered up. A lot of people thought that was a crazy why, but it was a why that was in the moment. It meant something to me, and it moved me. And it was something that was achievable within the next month. So I have to remind myself to have the big why, but I also need the smaller whys to keep me through, because sometimes I get overwhelmed and I shut down, or I just tend to lose focus. So having that smaller goal, that smaller hurdle to get through, definitely helps me. And even if it's to get my toes done the next month. So Nolan doesn't want to go to bed, so if y'all can hear him crying, that's why.
I love that, Dee Dee, because we definitely have to have we have to have short-term goals and long-term goals. And then our short-term goals will get us through. That's why we need our daily, weekly, and monthly. What do we want to accomplish? And it's so important to write them down, to write your goals down every single month. I mean, I can look back through my planners, and I wrote it all down, and it was so cool. I love how the Plexus planner, if any of y'all won that it says, what did you achieve last month that you had written down, for the month before? Now, I was going after Senior Ruby last month, and I didn't achieve that goal. But it didn't, yes, I was disappointed, but I knew it was a long shot anyway. And so that doesn't mean that's not going on that next week's or the next month's goal. I'm just going to keep setting that goal until I reach it and working toward it. Does anybody else have anything?
I do. Okay, so I love from page 26 and 27, I have this all kinds of highlighted. I'm here to tell you right now, 1 second. The pretzels are already out on the counter. I'm here to tell you right now that in order to get yourself way out of your comfort zone during the scary, uncomfortable start of your business, your why has to be about you. So obviously we touched on that. And then she says later down in the page, it has to be something of your very own outside of being a mom and wife, and to prove to yourself that you can accomplish big things. And then on the next page, we women are programmed to do everything for others. But I promise you, building this business for others won't be enough. So why that stood out to me is because I used to make my why about everyone else. I wanted to stay home and all these kinds of things. And then my kid goes and does something that makes me mad. And I'm like, why do I even want to be home with you? You're being a little turd. And then it's oh, I want my husband not to have to work so hard or, retire. And he's like, well, I like my job. And I'm like, well, forget you. What am I doing this for you? So anyway, this has been good for me to just be what is it that I want out of this? Why am I doing it? What will this mean to me? And honestly, I'm trying to peel back my own layers of my why onion, because I don't think I've gotten to the core of it yet. I have several things written down, but it really hasn't shaken me yet, And so I've been trying to really reflect on that over the past few days after rereading these couple of chapters. And so hopefully, that will kind of come out here before we chat next. But anyway, that's what really stuck out to me from chapter 2.
Yeah, I loved that part, because it was it definitely, I love that she said that it was okay to be selfish and it be about yourself and not about everybody else, because we are natural caregivers, especially us that are nurses. That's why we went to nursing school, because we love to care for everybody else, but we sometimes neglect ourselves in the midst of it. So I love that, Kenzie.
So Kim, so I know this is going to shock y'all, but type A, I thought I needed to do this today, so I did it. got it all done. But I was like really, I shocked myself. I surprised myself when I put my why together. And especially when I got to the part of what happens if I don't achieve that. That was huge. I mean, it's like, because I almost like kind of put together things far before I even started Plexus, things that I wanted, things that I didn't want, you know, how I kind of envisioned my future. Now I fit that all into Plexus, that, you know, I didn't really have that path or that vehicle to be able to achieve those things. And now I do have that path and that vehicle. And so now I've kind of defined that. And it's, that part was no surprise. It's like, oh yeah, I definitely know that this is why I want to do this. This is what I want to get out of this. But when I had to get to the part of what happens if I don't, that was very pressing. I mean, I even shared with my husband, I said, God, that's depressing, you know, like what? So it was a really, I'm still sitting back and looking at it hours later, kind of just going, wow, it's kind of a big deal.
Okay, so you know we want to know what it is.
Huh?
I said, so you know that we want to know what it is, but you don't have to share it. But that's so cool. That's really, really cool.
I mean, I'll share it. We only have 7 minutes, but I can share it now. I'll share it next week. We got a thumbs up.
Does anybody else have any questions or? No, like I think it'll be good for you to go ahead and share it, and that way we kind of know what we're doing for next week.
Okay. All right. So here I go. So my why is that, first of all, I no longer want to, and this will kind of almost make me cry, y'all. I no longer want to feel the weight of the world on my shoulders. Okay. I've been the primary wage earner in my house forever. And so with that, I know that if there is a blip, I mean, my company went through major layoffs from January until now. If there's a blip on the radar screen, it's a lot of income gone from this family. So I don't really want that pressure anymore. I don't want to be held bondage anymore. I really see it as bondage all the way from my commute, you know, being part of corporate America, no flexibility in my hours or my days. And I'm even in senior leadership and I just still don't have flexibility, y'all. I don't feel like I'm fulfilling my passion. I don't feel, I mean, I go to work, I do a great job every day, but I'm not fulfilling my passion. I want to be able to have the time and the financial freedom to travel with my husband and my family. And I want to do it while I'm still relatively young and, you know, we're healthy. At least I've got Plexus to help us with that. And then I have non-monetary passions that I want to have the time and the financial freedom to do, which is mainly helping young men that are struggling with addiction. That's a big passion of mine. So that's part of my why. And Plexus fits in there. So what that would do, I don't remember, I have this written down, but I don't remember the exact questions that lead into the next one. So this would give me the quality of time that I love to have with my family. I'm a big family person. I want to have time with my family. I feel like that is sacrificed all the time. And it'll allow me to experience the world through really God-given love for travel that runs through my veins and adventure. And it would allow me to allow my husband to live out one of his lifelong dreams, which y'all may think this is crazy, but he wants to sail around the world in a sailboat. I'm going to fly to the really cool places where he stops and visit him, but I am not sailing around the world. But it would give him the opportunity to be able to sail around the world. And because that's important to him, it's important to me as well. And then, you know, I'd also be able to give back to people. I'd be able to give back and help others achieve financial and health goals along my way. And then fulfill my passion to help young men that are struggling with addiction. So if I don't achieve my why, well, my husband and I will remain working in the jobs that we really don't love. I like it, but I don't really love it. And and we're probably going to work more years than what we really want to, because we'll need to continue to save up for retirement and pay for essentials like healthcare and things like that. We'll be limited to how much we can travel. We probably still will travel, but we're limited. I only get so much vacation time, so I've got months and I still can't take it all off. And so again, there's that bondage. My husband may never fulfill his dreams to be able to sail around the world. I'll continue to remain very conflicted in my priorities. Like, where do I need to be? Do I need to be at work? Do I need to be with, my mother has cancer right now. That's huge. I mean, I'm feeling like I'm with her and I'm feeling guilty. I should be at work. There's all this stuff that's piling up. I want to be free of that. I just want to be free of that. But I will still have that. If I don't make this right, I'm still going to have that in my life. From a confidence and self-esteem standpoint, being type A, I will later look back and say, I stopped when I shouldn't have. I didn't give it my all. And I'll always wonder what if. And had I kept going and gotten out of my comfort zone and just taken some chances, even if it was scary, then, am I going to forever be regretful that I didn't fulfill my true passions? So this is where it gets really sobering. So if I don't achieve my why in 5 years, I will probably still be commuting an hour and 15 minutes to Mars School. God only knows what it's going to look like now. One way to work every day. And I'll be doing that till I'm probably, 60. I'm 54. I would be doing that until I'm at least 60 and probably beyond. I would be counting down the days till retirement. I count down the days to retirement right now. I'm jealous of some of the people that got laid off, to tell you all the truth. I would have kind of liked that and just gotten that big fat check and then just focused on Plexus. But, all in God's timing, I guess it wasn't meant for me. But I would be fearful of retirement too, because I don't know that you ever really know that you're ready. That's a baby boomer thing, by the way, for some of you that are younger. It's a baby boomer thing. We don't ever know that we're really ready. And so I would, there could be that blip where poof, my income goes away at 58, 59 years old. Then what the hell, right? Again, we'd probably be traveling, but I would be conflicted because I would probably start feeling like I need to keep the money in the bank, and that we shouldn't be spending that money. So I wouldn't be experiencing, that love that I have for travel and adventure. I wouldn't be able to do that because as you get close to retirement, I do it right now. I'm like, I don't really need new furniture. I want to keep the money in the bank. I would be worried about the what ifs in life that could totally diminish our lifetime of savings, everything that we've worked towards. This is very, grim, I know, but it's real. It's my reality. I would be worried about that. And my mother in 5 years would be 84 years old. And so how am I going to juggle that? How am I going to, in 5 years, I'm 54, I'm going to be 59. That would be pretty young to be stepping into retirement. And my mother's going to be 84 and she's sick today. So how am I going to juggle that? And my mother-in-law is up in age as well. So I would feel like I still have the weight of the world on my shoulders, because I will. If I don't create a path to do something different than what I'm doing right now, I have a great job. I'm very blessed. It's, really, I can't complain. I don't want to act like I'm complaining, but it's not what I love, and it does not give me freedom. And that's what I really want. And I wouldn't be living out my passions. I wouldn't be helping other people, less fortunate people. And again, that all sounds pretty damn depressing to me. So that creates a pretty big call to action that I've just never taken the time. Never in my life have I taken the time to do this work.
Tanya, mine is very similar to yours. I am the breadwinner. I have all the responsibility on me. It makes me want to cry. You talk about overwhelmed. This is it. And if something happens to me physically, what am I going to do? And it is not, an easy job. There's very large people that I have to move and transport and this, that, and the other. What happens if something happens to my back or whatever? What then? Like, I have a lot of people that depend on me. And if something happens, everybody is going down. And it is very overwhelming. And if I stop, if I don't keep going, because I know I've seen people go from senior gold, from ruby. I have watched them move up to diamond. I know it's possible for those who want it bad enough and they have those freedoms. And Melissa, when she talks about, I will set you up for residual income for the rest of your life, I want to set you up for your future, for your kids' future. She's right. Yeah. She is exactly right. I want to be able to go have lunch. This week, I worked 6 days this week. I did not want to work overtime yesterday. I'm like, I don't want to be here 5 days a week. I was not happy about working overtime, and I don't have freedom. I don't. I'm not going to get to be there to take my kid to school the first day of school. There's so much I've missed out on, and I'm tired of it. I cannot get that time back. It's gone. And I don't want to miss it anymore.
I agree with you.
I'm with you. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I thought about that today too. I wish I would have had this opportunity when my kids were younger because, they kind of got sold out a little bit, my career over them. And there's been some we've paid the price for that, in my opinion. And so, that makes me really sad. That's when this gets really emotional when I think about the difference that it could have made. But I do, it's really weird. I have this I'm a very capable person. And if anything happened, I know on one hand, I know that I'm always going to be able to take care of myself, but then also have this like deep rooted fear of being destitute. I don't know why, but I do. And so good reason.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you.
I love that, Tanya. I think that you gave us all a really good example of how to peel it back and to really break it down. And it really opened my eyes because obviously I'm in your age group as well. It really opened my eyes to what our future looks like and what would happen if I didn't achieve it. So does anybody have anything else? I think our time's going to run out.
I just wanted to say that, Tanya, watching you read that and hearing the passion and the conviction in your voice and the way the atmosphere changed within you as you were reading that speaks so much. And it brings me to tears to watch it because I know how wholeheartedly you believe it. And I think that what your why is around with helping people with addiction, and then Kim with the stuff that you have going on, with the stuff that I have going on, and with the stuff that I've dealt with, I feel like that's only something that God could bring together. And I'm incredibly blessed to be here tonight. So I just wanted to say that.
Oh, thanks, Dee Dee.
You're going to make me cry. Okay. All right, well, that's it. We're going to wrap it up tonight. Thank you all for being here. I hope y'all enjoyed it, and y'all will join us again next Sunday night. So Kim gave you your homework assignment. We want y'all to get that done. It's at the end of chapter 2, if you need to go back and, refer to it and everything. And then go ahead and read chapters 3 and 4. And if you can get to those activities at the end of the chapters, that's great. If not, we'll make that the homework assignment for the next week, so don't get too overwhelmed. But it's getting real, y'all. It's getting real, and I hope y'all enjoyed it. And I look forward to next week.
Thank y'all. Thanks for facilitating.
All righty, bye, y'all.